over at the Maligne mountain range, when you're thinking, those are not the mountains I signed up for when I came to the Canadian Rockies. I won't say they're less beautiful, they're just less tall. And that's just due to their composition or the type of rock that they're made of. So they are mainly composed of sandstone and shale, which is basically just compressed prehistoric mud and dirt. The rocks are only about as thin as dinner plates, so when you're walking up there, you can actually feel those right beneath your feet. And that's one person, so you can imagine what years of weathering and glaciation has done to these mountains. And we're going to have a weight crossing here with the Talana. If that's your favorite part of the tour, I won't be offended. Now, that is not to say that these mountains were not tall at one point. They're just a lot more susceptible to erosion, but at their peak, they would have been comparable to the Himalayas as we see them today. And now they stand just over 2,000 meters. We're going to have another weight crossing here with the Mary Schaefer. So where you see where the Maligne range kind of dips off into the tree line, does everyone see that mountain behind it? So that mountain there is part of the Endless Chain. Did anyone drive up from Lake Louise along the Icefield Parkway? Yeah. So you've also seen that mountain range in its entirety. So the Icefield Parkway, or the Highway 93, is actually on the other side of that range. So it starts around San Juan Falls and then stretches for about 18 kilometers back towards Lake Louise. And it is called the Endless Chain because it's one big continuous wall of rock for 18 kilometers. So there's no valleys between any of the peaks at all. We've actually had Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield come to Jasper during our Dark Sky Festival. And he's told us that you can see this mountain range from the International Space Station. Pretty cool. Kind of looks like a scar across the Earth's surface. Fun fact, you can also see the Great Wall of China.
From here, we can see the Great Wall of China.
Not from here. No. From space. From space.
Now these mountains that we're seeing to the left of the boat and in front of us here, the showstoppers of the lake. This is the Queen Elizabeth mountain range. Can anyone guess who it's named after? Your captain. So it's named after Queen Elizabeth II, the current model. And it's named so because we gifted it to her in 1953 for her coronation. So here in Canada, we're part of the Commonwealth, so we had to get the Queen something nice for her big day. But she's a very hard lady to shop for. But we eventually decided on a pile of rocks in the middle of the Canadian backcountry. And we're not even sure if she likes her pile of rocks. She's been to Jasper 3 times. How many times do you think she's been to the lake? Big fat 0. She's never been here. The last time she was in town, rumor has it she made it all the way up to the Maligne Canyon and then turned around because she got hungry and went back to A&W and got a burger. Hasn't been up here quite yet, but maybe one day she'll come. She's only, what, 98? 99? She's got time. But it was no ordinary mountain range that we gifted to the Queen. This is a very unique mountain range. It uplifted in a way that only about less than 10% of mountains in the world will do. So most will form in a linear straight line. But the Queen Elizabeth range, it starts back at Medicine Lake with Mount Proposal, stretches along the left-hand side of the boat, and then it actually wraps around itself, and then just up here on the upcoming right-hand side with Mount Unwin. So it is in the shape of a hook or a J. So it's even more unique that we have a glacially fed lake right in the middle of that wraparound where we can get the boat, drive right to the heart of it. And Spirit Island sits right there. So when we're at the island, we're going to be almost completely surrounded 360 degrees by this one range, which is really what makes that area so iconic. deep is the lake? Great question. So the average depth of the lake is about 50, 60 meters or so, about 150 feet. The deepest point is 97 meters, or about 320 feet. To give you an idea of actually how deep that is, do we all know the Statue of Liberty? She looks like this. So she stands at 94 meters tall, so we could actually place her in the deepest part of our lake and still be able to drive a boat over without knowing she was there. So if she ever goes missing, you know where she is.